Hey guys, Mr. Bowman here. Today's learning objective is in yellow and we are learning to integrate given polynomials. So the first thing we're going to emphasize, what does this word integrate means? And integration is the opposite of differentiation. So it's the opposite, and sometimes you'll hear it referred to as anti-differentiation. And that makes sense given it is its opposite. So that's the key word for today. And I've also got a formula for us, and this is going to be new and it's going to look very intimidating, but I'll explain it in a little bit. So the integral of kxn, and then you always have to write dx, is equal to k divided by n plus 1 times x to the power of n plus 1. And at the end of that, I'm going to write plus c. So let's break this question down into its parts. So this here is saying to integrate kx to the power of n. This here is the integral. And this here is the plus constant that we set at the end of our equation. And that last part, just to note, when we were differentiating, for example, x squared plus 7, that gave us the 2x plus 0. So that constant, we have no way of actually figuring out when we integrate what that 7 was. So we're adding plus c just to denote that there was a constant, and maybe we can mathematically figure it out using substitution later on. So hopefully that makes sense. I think the best way to understand this, let's get into heaps of questions. Let's see how we go. So question 1, integrate 3x squared dx. So let's have a look at our formula above. So k is the coefficient out front, so we're going to go 3. N plus 1, that's the power plus 1, so 3 is going to be divided by 2 plus 1. And then we're going to go x, n plus 1, so that's 2 plus 1 again, and we're going to add c. So we don't know what c is, but we know there's a constant, or there may have been a constant at some point. So here we've got 3 over 3, x to the power of 3 plus c, and 3 over 3 becomes 1, so that's x cubed plus c. And if you think about it, that makes sense. So if we go ahead and differentiate this, that becomes a times n, which is 3, x, 3 minus 1, which gets us to 2, and that's our original answer up there. So let's change pen color. Let's do a couple more in a rapid fire sense, and we'll make them a bit more difficult as well. So what is the integral of 12x cubed minus 6x plus 3 dx? So let's work below. So k would be each of the numbers, and just a reminder, this 3 would have been x to the power of 0. So we're going to go 12 divided by the power plus 1 times x to the power plus 1. We're then going to minus 6, and then x as a power would have been 1, so that's 1 plus 1, and then x, 1 plus 1 as well. And then we're going to go plus 3 divided by 0 plus 1, because the original power is 0, and that's x to the power of 0 plus 1, and then we're going to add c at the end. So hopefully we can see the patterns that are being presented to us in integration, and it is a regular thing. So that first one there becomes 12 over 4, x to the power of 4. We're then going to minus 6 divided by 2, x to the power of 2. We're then going to plus 3 over 1, x to the power of 1, and then we'll add c. And finally, we can do our final steps of simplification. So that's 3x to the power of 4 minus 3x squared plus 3x plus c. just like differentiation, you do each part separately based on the formula. Okay, so if you haven't got these examples down, I encourage you, please pause the screen, pause your YouTube video, write them all down, do understand step by step what's happening, and then after that, I'm going to clear it, and then I'm going to do a rapid fire 4 more questions for us to go through. Once we're done that, we're going to get into heaps of practice. Okay, guys, we're back. Hopefully you got those previous 2 examples down. We've got 4 rapid fire questions. Some of them have a little tricks into it, but let's get into them. So first question, find the integral of 24x to the power 5 minus 3. So we're going to start off looking at our formula. We're going to go k divided by n plus 1. And just noting the n plus 1 is the same at the denominator and the top of that power. So we're going to go 24 divided by 5 plus 1. And that's going to be multiplied by x, 5 plus 1. Just noting the denominator and the power are the exact same. We're then going to go minus 3 divided by 0 plus 1 times x to the power of 0 plus 1. And just a reminder that 3 would have been included as an x to the power of 0. After that, we're going to plus c because there might have been a constant. We're not sure. Can't figure that out at this stage. When we simplify this, that becomes 24 divided by 6, which is 4x to the power of 6. We're then going to go minus 3 divided by 1, so that's going to become minus 3x to the power of 0 plus 1, so that's to the power of 1, so I'll leave it as x. So there should be a 1 there, but we don't need to write that down. And then we're going to go plus c. So the integral of that, 4x to the power of 6 minus 3x plus c. So just a reminder, as we're going through, do pause, do make sure you understand step by step. Let's move on to the next question. So we always start off by putting the coefficient up the front, and we're going to divide that by the power plus 1 times x to the power plus 1. We're then going to subtract, so 35. So just a reminder that there is to the power of 1. So 35 divided by 1 plus 1, x to the power of 1 plus 1 plus c. We then go through our simplifying phase. So we've got 15 divided by 3 over here. So that's going to become 5x cubed. Next to that, we've got 35 over 2. So that is a fraction, and we can't really simplify that too much. So just a reminder, the answers aren't always going to be nice even numbers. So we'll be dealing with a bit of fractions. And then x squared plus c. So again, if you haven't got that down, do pause, step by step, go through it. Number 5 down the bottom here. So a bit of manipulation or changing the equation, I think, might make it easier. So we've got 12x to the power of 1, take away 3/4 of x cubed dx. So I'm just changing this, so I'm just making it a bit clearer what the k value actually is. And we will need to utilize our fraction skills in solving this problem. So we're going to go 12, which is the constant, or k in front of it, and we're going to go the power plus 1. So 1 plus 1 times x to the power of 1 plus 1. We're then going to minus 3/4 divided by the power plus 1. So that's going to become 3 plus 1 down the bottom, and that's going to be x times x to the power of 3 plus 1, and we're going to add c at the end. We're now going to start the simplifying process. So on the left, we've got 12 divided by 2. That's going to become 6x squared. Minus, we've got 3/4 divided by 4. So I'll just put a note down here. So when you got 3/4 divided by 4, basically what you can do is you can move that 4 to the bottom. So that's going to be 3 divided by 4 times 4, which is 16. So that will be 3 divided by 16, x to the power of 4. We can't really simplify that fraction at all. And at the end there, we're going to go plus c. And it looks like we can't do anything else with that, and that would be our final answer. And the last question, it looks like the hardest one, but I think you'll find with the skills you've learnt, it'll be quite straightforward. So first step, let's add in some things. So that x is to the power of 1, and that 7 is secretly an x to the power of 0. And I think that just helps me understand. That's going to be equal to, so we're going to go k, which is 2, divided by the power plus 1, so 3 plus 1, times x power plus 1, and then we're going to add 4 divided by the power plus 1, x power plus 1, so hopefully we're noticing a thing. Then we're going to go minus 5 divided by power plus 1, x power plus 1, and we are running out of room pretty quick here, so we've got 7, which is k, divided by power plus 1, and I'll just finish it up here. So this there would be multiplied by x 0 plus 1, and then at the end we would add c. So we've got a whole bunch of different components. Let's start simplifying. So this here is going to be 2 divided by 4, so that's going to be 1/4 of x to the power of 4. We're then going to add 4/3 of x cubed. We're then going to add 5/2 of x squared. We're then going to add 7x. That's because 7, so this part over here, 7 divided by 1 is 7. And that was multiplied by the part up here, 0 plus 1. Well, that just gets us to x. And then at the end, we're going to tack on a c. And that there would be our final derivative. Our integral of our original equation. So guys, hopefully you found the video useful. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Comment in the section below or just ask me. Let's get into heaps of practice now.